Hi there, welcome back to my kitchen. I wanted to hop on real quick because I'm making applesauce and I thought, oh, I should video this and just show you how easy it is to make applesauce in the Pampered Deluxe cooking blender. What's really cool about this blender that you may not know is it actually has a heating element built into the blender. So it will do things like make your creamy soups and jams, and it does so many different things. But it's going to cook my applesauce today. It heats up to 220 degrees. And so if I wanted a cooked applesauce versus a raw applesauce, then I can do it right here in the blender on the jam setting, and that will heat it and cook it up for me just beautifully. Because this blender does an amazing job of blending to a really smooth consistency, I'm just leaving the peels right on my apple. The peels contain so much nutrition, and I don't want to lose that by taking it off. So I throw it with the peel on into the blender. It does make the applesauce a little browner, but the flavor and nutrition there is just amazing. All I do is chop up my apple, and I'm going to show you really quickly. I have most of it already done, but I use the Pampered Chef apple wedger. This little circle here just goes over the core, and then I press down just like that. And what you will see is that it's a perfectly wedged apple with the core just taken out. So that's what contains all the pits. So this is super awesome for when you are wanting to take an apple to work and you don't want to chew around it. Now that I have the core taken out, I can just hold it tight like this and wrap it, and then it won't get brown because basically you're keeping the oxygen from getting into it. So if I wrap this whichever way I want to, put it in a container to hold it tight, then when I'm ready, I can just take off a wedge and eat it. I find myself eating so many more fresh apples after getting this wedger. It's just so easy to make a snack. So for the applesauce itself, I want to do a medium coarse chop. So after it's wedged, I just cut through those wedges one time and then put it in the blender. So you don't have to, like I said, you don't have to peel, you don't have to do a really fine cut in this. It's going to be fine just like that. Have one more apple here to do. Again, just centering that circle above. Oh, and this one's going to go a little funny. Again, I take the core out. Push it back out this way. A little bit of that core didn't go through, so just remove that. I'm just chopping these wedges in half. And then I am all set to go with my apples. What I love about making homemade applesauce is I totally have control over the ingredients. I don't know if you've ever checked the labels of the applesauce that you buy at the store, but often it is filled with sugar and much more than what I would want. And it's filled with other things often as well. So all I'm adding is a 1/4 cup of water. That's it. A 1/4 cup of water. The apples, I put the lid on. I turn this on so I want you to hear this. Do you hear that little da-da-da-da-da? That means you've secured the lid properly. Then what's really cool about this blender, I mentioned that, you can do great smoothies because, I don't know what you like to put in your smoothies, but I often throw greens in my smoothies, and I don't like in just a general blender having stringing stuff in my smoothies. It just makes the creamiest, smooth, silky smoothies of all. You can make peanut butter in here. It grinds nuts, it grinds coffee beans. You have an alternative milk setting, so I like making nut milks. And it has a soup setting, as I mentioned. It has a sauce setting and a jam setting. Now you would think that I should use sauce, but because this is a heated applesauce, I'm going to use jam so that it actually gets a chance to cook. So all I do is just turn the dial until the jam, I don't know if you can see that, but the jam button there is flashing. That's all I do. Then I'm going to press start. What you will see is it grinds a little bit and then it pauses. And it'll grind a little bit, heat a little bit, and pause. In a moment, I'm going to just use this tamper. This little part of the lid comes off. And I'm just going to push down a bit just to help it along. So I'm just pushing it down. I want to make sure those chunks are getting to the bottom of the blender. I don't want to be pushing it down while it's running. But you can see it working there. And that is pretty darn good. It probably doesn't need more than that. Now I'm going to remember to put this back on, otherwise it'll spray me. I've learned that. So you can see while it's pausing, it's heating up. And I don't know if you can see the 73 here. That's the temperature this is at right now. And over the time, you will see that that temperature rises till it's cooking. I'm not sure how hot it will make the applesauce. I think it's going to go to 220, but that may just be how hot the soup goes. I'm not sure. In a few minutes, after it reaches a certain consistency and temperature, it's going to pause and tell me to add. Now, what that add moment allows you to do is, depending on your apples, you may want to add some sweetener, you might not. Adding sweetener is totally up to you. You don't need to. I often don't. If the apple is sweet on its own, I don't add anything. But if it's a really tart apple, I will generally add something like honey. I generally don't cook with white sugar. I may add some maple syrup to this, or if I want, I can throw in some soaked dates, and those soaked dates add a really nice sweetness. I also, at this point, often will add some ginger, some fresh ginger that's minced, and throw that in. Or I'll put in some cinnamon. I'll probably add cinnamon today with this. You can also add some fresh lemon juice in here, which tastes really good. So you can add whatever you want, and it can be delicious. It's now, you can see the temperature is at 82. The other really thing you can do is you can put in like apples and strawberries, apples and pears, apples and carrots. It's a great way. It's a great way with kids to hide some veggies. So if you still keep it predominantly apples, but throw in a carrot, throw in some other veggies, those veggie tastes can get hidden by the apples, and you're getting more fruits and vegetables into your kids. Hi there. You can see that the blender is now flashing. It's at 208 degrees, and it is saying add. So it's just paused. I'm just going to take off this dome up here. There we go. And all I'm adding, because I've tasted these apples and they're sweet, I'm not going to add any sweetener. I'm going to add a little cinnamon though. I just put it in there. I'm going to make sure this is secured again. Okay. And then I just press this dial. You know, one of the things that I love about making my own food is that it's so much more environmentally friendly. I'm not buying containers of stuff and having to add to the recycling, or some containers that aren't even reusable. I am able to just put everything into glass containers or whatever my reusable containers are, and I am not wasting the product. I'm saving tons of money, and I am able to control all the ingredients so that they're exactly the way I want them to be. So I'm just going to hit this. Like I said, this is where you would add some lemon juice if you wanted, some ginger, whatever other, flavorings you want in there. You can see the steam coming up, and like I said, it's at 208 right now. I think it's going to take it right to 220. And that really is what distinguishes it from other blenders. It's got that cooking element in here. And now it is done. It has just finished its cooking. You can see that it's continuing to boil because it's hot in there. I'm ready to remove it, and I wish you could smell this. It is smelling so good. So it'll make that sound as you loosen the lid. Careful, because it is hot. Yeah, there we go. So I'm going to just lift this off. It has this little lifting lip here. So just lift it straight up. And I'm going to pour it into my stainless steel bowl. And you can see how smooth and creamy that is. I want you to see this yummy, yummy applesauce. It looks to me like it's about 4 cups of applesauce altogether. And I'm just going to let that cool, and when it's cool, put it in the fridge. And I am going to be able to eat such yummy applesauce tomorrow, so I'm really excited about that. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you like to mix in with your applesauce, whether you just do a pure applesauce, whether you do apple strawberry, apple pear. What is your favorite way and flavoring of applesauce?